The Ravens Flock presents The Black Files, an uncensored interview and review podcast for all geek fandom.
Welcome everybody, friends and pals, guys and gals, boys and girls around the world. Pop a squat, pop open a cold one with all your friends. It is Wednesday night. It is past 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here, and you are tuning in to the uncensored, unfiltered, unedited, uncompromising interview and review podcast of the Ravens Flock. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, whether you're a friend or a fiend, welcome to a brand new episode of The Black Files.
Yes, indeed. Welcome, everybody. It is Wednesday night, November the 2nd. We have finished Halloween, and now we're entering the month of Thanksgiving, which is later.
Month of November.
Gobble, gobble, wee. Gobble, gobble, yeah. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Okay, for real, man. I was going to say, hey, I'm your host, folks, Juan Arauz, one of the heads of the Ravens Flock, the tech guru of the team. I'm the guy who keeps the Whizzlies and Bizzle Bops all from catching fire and sometimes lighting them on fire, but that's part and parcel of the deal. And joining me tonight is our usual suspect over here, founder of the Ravens Flock channel, executive producer of our channel, the content manager, and of course the host of Wrestle Rewind, which is our weekly wrestling recap show, and the host and the host of our main show, the Ravens Flock. Let's say hello to Jose Casabona, folks.
Hello, everybody. How you guys doing? Oh man, oh man, oh man. I'm happy to be here. We're one man short, but we could do it between you and me, Juancho.
Well, it's not as if we have much of a choice. We really don't. And Jose, go ahead and get the
usual stuff.
Yeah, housekeeping.
Yep, absolutely. Why don't we call it housekeeping? It sounds awkward.
Well,
anyway.
Housekeeping, paying the bills, the usual plugs, all that jazz.
All right, then just say the plugs. Anyways, so much like all our other shows on this channel, we are simulcasting on youtube.com/The Ravens Flock and twitch.tv/The Ravens Flock online. Hit the subscribe or the follow button on the bottom right corner of your screen. Hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all of our media content. Leave your questions and comments down below, and we will answer them during the duration that we're live. And if you wish to go above and beyond to support The Ravens Flock, then you too can become an inner flocker for $4.99 a month, and you will have access to all the special perks that comes with our amazing membership service. Juan, tell them.
Don't mind if I do. Basically, folks, as you can see here, first off, we're going to go ahead and show off our lovely emojis, all custom made courtesy of the Ravens Flock, courtesy of yours truly, in order to show your love and show your support. And yeah, thanks to the subathon, we managed to add 2 emojis on there. We have the new one for the Black Files, that's the blue one, and you see the one where Angel looks like he's about to jump out. He's got laser eyes or whatever. We have the word slurs written over his mouth as a way of expressing frustrations and angers with something. So yeah, that was totally an idea that he wanted, and I gave it to him because I'm a little bit of a pushover when it comes to my brothers and giving them stuff they like. Also, we have members first and members only content, meaning exactly what it sounds like. Members first, you guys get to the front of the line. Members only, your VIPs only. All the rest of the plebes will have to buy their way in. And you also get access to our exclusive members only discount at our merch store, link in the description below. And you'll also get to be part of the conversation to help shape the future of the Ravens Flock channel by joining us in discussions over here. We're going to start setting that up real soon so it can be done properly. And all this can be yours for the low price of $4.99 a month. We appreciate if it's within your means. We appreciate any support that we get from you folks. And I want to also say hello to everyone in the YouTube chat. I want to say hi to our mod squad here. We got Nikki Bella in the chat. We also have Kuristi Rando Sun. We have Saffron, and we also have In the Closet with Amy Goodhart. Hello there, folks. Hi there, Amy. I know that Amy is getting ready for the big, fat, beautiful Las Vegas adventure of the entirety of the rest of the Popcorn Planet family. I'm sorry, we're broke over here at the Ravens Flock. We can't get away from our desk jobs to save our lives. Otherwise, I would be shanghaiing the 3 of us out there to Las Vegas, if only to go to the nightclub party that Lewis is going to with Tiesto DJing for Lewis's birthday. Yeah, our main man, Louis Lecca, he's turning 21. Wink, nudge.
Really? You don't say.
Wink, nudge.
Ha 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 ha
Uh-huh.
ha.
All right, so yeah, I know it's a little bit silly, Juan. Why are you trying to make light over here? It's because we tonight's episode is not going to be a light one. I'm sorry, guys. I'm apologizing to all y'all in advance. It's not going to be light. It's not. It's not going to be pretty. It is going to be. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be extremely heavy, and this is the only thing that I can say about it. And here's also we have the Joseph Santos. Hello there, folks. I know that you guys are coming in and you're enjoying yourselves, and yeah, again, I hope that we can actually do some good with tonight's episode. Basically, let me see here. God, I guess there's no real good way of bringing this up. Okay, tonight's episode is going to be different from the rest of the Ravens Flock content and the rest of the Black Files. Usually, we keep ourselves in our own little lane, in our own little world, in the world of entertainment. But still, the Black Files digs into the darker side or the more serious side of entertainment news and geek news and nerd news and the convention community that the Ravens Flock is so deeply entrenched in. Because there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of craziness, there's a lot of different issues that we all have to discuss and we have to shine a light on. But this one takes it to a whole nother level. And basically, I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of a breakdown on this. I'm doing this episode namely because I think it has to be done. And I'll stop pussyfooting around the subject. It's going to be pretty straightforward. So, for those of you who have been with us, know that we're also friends with that the Ravens Flock is friends with an activist. That you can call her a social justice warrior, but she is one in the best sense. Her name is Sarah DeArmond, and she's a personal friend of mine. I love her very much, and she actually owns and operates a nonprofit organization that she helped found as part of her activism. She's all about social justice. She's all about like reform for more equitable treatment for people. Also, hi there, Witchy Gemini and Planet Q's Queen. Hello, folks. Welcome to the Black Files.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, guys. So, now Sarah, her nonprofit is called Voiceless Behind Bars. And it is exactly what it sounds like. Basically, it is a nonprofit organization that focuses primarily on advocating for people who are wrongfully convicted and are imprisoned and are serving time unjustly in jail. She opened up this nonprofit earlier this year. And if I'm not mistaken, it all gets blurry to me somehow. And she's been like, I think she clues us in because like we started like, namely, I'm just like started as friends with her on Twitter, namely over our mutual distaste of known internet a-hole Gregory Jackson, aka Onision. Hi, Greg. Fuck you, Greg. You're still a piece of crap. You're still a pedo. Anyway, and I saw that while she was trying to get her own footing on YouTube, she was trying to find her voice, and she really found it when the Black Lives Matter movement started ramping up, and she started looking closer into people who were wrongfully convicted, wrongfully imprisoned. And that's when she came across stories of people like Timothy Magruder, of people like Sharon Edwards, who were all men who are behind bars right now, and they were convicted under extremely dubious circumstances. And I'm saying this as politely as I can. I'm trying to wait at least a half hour before I go full F-bombs on everything. But mainly, we're focusing tonight on one person that she has actually gotten close to, and close to her to this man's family. This is a man by the name of James Griffin. Now, James Griffin's story is pretty messed up. But rather than just give it to you guys all in one shot and just try to spit it out, I did have the special privilege, thanks to arrangements made by Sarah and by James Griffin's wife, Laura, to actually get to speak to him on the phone this past Saturday. It was early in the day before we got started for the Ravens flock, and we only had maybe a half hour of time with each other. And considering the circumstances, we needed to get as much of his time in as possible. What happened to him was this. In 2002, James W. Griffin was charged in Topeka, Kansas, with attempted murder in the second degree, attempted aggravated robbery, and conspiracy to commit robbery. When he was sent to trial, he was convicted and found guilty, and he was sentenced to 25 years as the getaway driver of a robbery that happened at a store called Carlos O'Kelly's. The manager named Bob Fraser testified that there was someone who stuck him up while he was who was in all black clothing. Apparently, he had put on a ski mask. The subject entered the restaurant through the kitchen and went into Bob Fraser's office. And apparently, after hearing a loud popping noise, witness in the restaurant made their way towards Mr. Fraser's office, where he was found lying on the floor. No theft had occurred. The safe had not been opened, and no cash registers were drawn. Now, the crazy thing about all this is that James Griffin was put down as the sole suspect of the entire crime, as the getaway driver for the crime, based solely on the fact that whoever this masked person was, quote unquote, sounded black. That was the only lead they used. That was the only lead they went with. What's even more ridiculous is that James Griffin was approximately 3 hours away from where the crime took place. And also, Witchy Gemini is asking, how do you become an inner flocker? Well, you can click on the join button under the chat over here, or you can click on this link that I'm going to put into the chat right now. I hope that helps.
Go for it.
Now, there was also a lot of hearsay, and there was basically the only evidence that was brought up at trial was hearsay from one person, their significant other, and a next door neighbor. And since then, the witnesses that came up saying that that they're recanting their testimony and that they lied in order to avoid a jail sentence of their own. And to top it all off, there's proof that James Griffin was nowhere near the crime scene and had nothing to do with this, in the form of phone records. He had there was phone records that was used in his arraignment, but they didn't want to admit it into evidence, that showed that he was over in Coffeyville, Kansas, and his mother was able to corroborate that because she knew where he was. And there was no photograph of him, there was no physical evidence, there was no DNA, there was no trace of anything like an ID card, nothing that would have put James Griffin anywhere near the crime scene. And yet he is paying the price. He has been paying the price. And he is currently serving out he's on his 20th year of his 25-year sentence for something that he had nothing to do with, for a crime that he did not commit, that he could not have committed if one were to look at the evidence in an objective manner. And this story fried my fritters, and not in the fun way. It got me extremely pissed off. It got me angry beyond belief. Sarah was telling me about this and how heartbreaking and how difficult it is for James and his wife Laura to try to get any sort of traction for people to look into his case in order to try to find any way to let him come home, to let him go free. It didn't make any sense. It's basically wrong. The state of Kansas basically has stolen, it has a debt on 25 years on a man's life that he doesn't owe. What the hell? Where do I start with this? Where do I freaking begin? Well, first off, Witchy Gemini, you've just become an inner flocker. Thank you so much. Thank you, Witchy Gemini.
Absolutely. Other than that, there aren't any other comments, relevant right now, other than Saffron saying that poor man. And no, that's true. It's fucked up. Like, he's serving out a sentence, and like you said, Juan, he was wrongfully convicted.
And with that being said, folks, I would like to invite you to, you can take my word for this whole thing, or you can simply hear from James himself. Here's what we did. Sarah and I were trying to get set up to find a way to have James call from the correctional facility he's in to call his wife, Laura. All right, that's the only way that he can have connection to the outside world. From there, Laura was going to try to call in to the Zoom call that I was setting up for us. That way, Sarah could be on the line, and then Mrs. Griffin could be on the phone with James speaking through it. However, there was technical issues going on. I don't know what. Maybe it's Zoom not being very intuitive or nice. But when Laura and James dialed in, they didn't use a computer. They didn't use a camera phone or smartphone. It was doing it the other way, that you can call into Zoom. Because, sometimes if you get a Zoom link, there's a phone number that you can dial in with like a meeting code and a passcode. You dial that in, and you actually get to enter a Zoom call through an actual regular phone call, right? That was the idea. It didn't work out. Don't know why. Zoom was being silly. I don't know. And what we ended up having to do was we ended up having to have Laura call Sarah's phone directly, and Sarah just having to place her phone up to her webcam on her laptop to have them speak through the webcam from there. So I'm going to let you guys know in advance that this that the sound might not be 100%. I'll apologize. I wanted to leave this as uncut, uncensored as possible. I didn't edit anything. So naturally there's no captions either. So again, I apologize.
It's okay. Actually, Juancho,
Yes.
before you do that, Planet Q actually brought up an interesting question here in the comments in the chat, asking, have they tried the Innocence Project?
I'm actually looking at the Innocence Project right now. I'm trying to see if they're part of the cases that are being brought up in here. Let me see. I think that they should actually get connected with the Innocence Project and also Voiceless Behind Bars. Sarah has been working on this case extremely closely. And the way she's doing it is that she is working with different paralegals in order to help draft the motions to work with different prisoners, to work with different people who are have been wrongfully convicted, and
Right.
hopefully try to get them their say with appellant courts, with parole boards, whoever it needs to be.
Yeah, but no, I just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, we could go ahead and move forward. In fact, since you're about to do it, let me go ahead and mute my mic right now.
I appreciate that, Jose. And folks, again, this is the entire interview. It's going to be long. It's going to be there. You're going to see a lot of, you're going to hear a lot of trying to understand everything. So I'm going to go ahead and play the interview now. And again, this is the best that we can do for all this. Yeah, most prisons won't allow third-party calls. You're right. That I think that's probably why it's going on over here. Planet Q screen over there is hell. If we could get Catherine Zellner to look into this case, not to make light of this. No, I get you, Planet Q. Like it would take a miracle. It would take a lot. And here's hoping. Oh, it's Kathleen Zellner. That's what you mean. Yeah, and let me see. Yeah, how could that happen? The justice system is fucked. You're right. That's the reason why I was bringing this up. So I'm going to mute myself now, and I'm going to be playing the interview. The blonde girl you're going to see on the camera, that's our friend Sarah DeArmond. The gentleman you're going to hear is James Griffin. So, going ahead.
I need a second.
We're just waiting on Juan.
Okay. All right, here we go. So, let's see. Hey, folks. Welcome to this special edition of the Black Files. Juan Arauz, one of the heads of the Ravens flock, the tech guru of the team. I already introduced myself earlier over here, if you guys will see. And joining me are two people, actually. One is our friend of the Ravens flock and the founder of the nonprofit organization Voiceless Behind Bars, my close personal friend, Sarah DeArmond. How are you doing tonight, Sarah?
Good. Thank you for having me.
All right. Appreciate you, honey. And joining us via Sarah's phone is a gentleman by the name of Mr. James Griffin. Mr. Griffin, it's good to have you here. Welcome to the Black Files, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. I appreciate it. We appreciate having you here. Now, I've already given everyone on the program, since we're streaming this live, the basic rundown of your situation, but we want to hear it from your voice. We want to hear it from your side of the story, because just me narrating what's happening, or me reading off what happened according to your story on your website, which is justiceforjamesgriffin.com. That itself isn't quite enough. We want to hear about it from you, sir. Go ahead and let us know what happened here.
Well, this is a situation that happened, a terrible situation that happened in 2002, where a guy was allegedly robbed, or attempted to rob, from what was said, and shot during the process of this robbery. And as time developed, they had looking for a suspect of a description of a black male, and because of it being a black male, it's because of the sound of a black male, not actually seen as a black male. But anyway, to move further, I was arrested after this crime. And I didn't even know that this crime even existed until I was actually arrested for this crime and accused of this crime. And I was told that I did this crime. I told these officers, the prosecutor, I didn't have anything to do with this crime. I don't even know the man that was even allegedly shot. Whoever robbed this man. For years I've been confessing this, that, you got the wrong man. I've been in and out the courts several years of trying to get somebody to understand it. You know, Kansas, you're making a mistake here. You're making a mistake. You know, find someone listening.
And
Has been my hope. Hello?
oh, I'm just saying, phone records prove that you weren't there.
Yes, and I asked, of course, to look at that, but the prosecutor somehow came and said that my phone records was a dummy number. And the thing about it is, I couldn't understand how can you say that my phone records was a dummy number when phone locations have saved lives before, and they also put people in prison.
Yep.
So why can't it be fair to use it when it's actually showing I'm nowhere near this crime, but 3 hours away from this crime?
Yep.
You know, but they swindled out of that somehow and said it was a dummy number, and said that basically that was a made-up story there. Something was wrong with the phone records or something. You know, and this is legal documentation that I had to prove that I wouldn't even know where anywhere near or around this area of this place. So, you know, but like I said, this case has been a case where they wanted somebody that sounded black, basically.
That was it? Like that's all they said, that they just needed to find someone who sounded black, and that was the only basis that they had to try to link you to this case?
Right. Yes, right then it was, because they basically came, this is what they basically came with. They basically said, because the guy that said it was shot said he believed that the guy that committed this crime against him sounded black. Not that he's seen a black male, but
Yep.
he sounded black to him.
I remember reading the transcripts. It's true.
Which has spread, was this vague message to the community, made them harass people of color there. You know, and it's police, and it also initiated a big situation where they didn't know who they was after. They still don't. I was just caught up in the mix of a situation where I fit a description, and that's my race. And also, not only that, just they was able to find some witnesses that would get on the stand, commit perjury for the state, to say that I was responsible for this. You know?
Okay.
And for years, I've been waiting to hear the truth on that, because I couldn't understand why these people got on the stand to say that I was guilty of something that they didn't even know nothing about.
All right, so you're saying that the prosecution actually got a hold of just regular people who had no other link to the case as well, and they basically told them to perjure themselves, to lie on the stand and testify against you?
You know what? I wish I could make that story up.
No, I don't blame you. That is incredible, and that is insane. I wouldn't understand why any right-minded prosecution or a district attorney office, especially with a case like this, would have any reason to basically fabricate evidence. It doesn't make sense.
Unfortunately, and this is another message that James wants out there, is that these wrongful convictions happen all the time. And I see this happen too, where they fabricate evidence. They say to people in order to testify, like, okay, this is what you're going to say on the stand. And they'll coach them. This is what you're going to do. And this is what happened with his case as well. I unfortunately see this all the time, where they carefully construct a case where they wrongfully convict a person. And again, this happened to James.
But what's the end game for that? Why would any government authority, be it state or federal, why would they go so far to put someone behind bars who had nothing to do with any sort of crime? What do they have to gain from it? Is it just to close the case? Is it just to get one more case file off of their docket? What's the reason? What's the purpose?
You know what? That was a good question you asked, because that is definitely what Sarah has been working on trying to get from these people. And nobody is trying to respond back to her. Nobody. The governor, the
Attorney General.
Elaborate on Sarah to him, please.
Oh, absolutely. So I've been trying to get in touch with the district attorney, the attorney general, the governor. No one has gotten back to me on that. From what I have learned about wrongful convictions, just through talking to the people who've been wrongfully convicted, their family, reading transcripts, stuff like that, is that when it comes to solving these cases, it takes a lot of time, money, resources with the police, with the state, and they don't want to do that. That's just the truth. They don't want to do that, and they would rather solve it as quickly as possible, even if it's an innocent person, and they would rather slap a black face on it, person of color, because it's easier to convict them. And in fact, when it comes to wrongful convictions, Black people rank the highest when it comes to those who are wrongfully convicted.
No, you're right.
And
It's just you're right, because Black people and people of color usually end up ranking higher in the when it comes to cases of wrongful convictions. I actually pulled that up earlier on the live broadcast here. So yeah, no, it doesn't seem right, and there's going to be folks who would actually argue like this was a sentence for 25 years of imprisonment, and Mr. Griffin, you've been behind bars for nearly 2 decades now. There would be folks who would argue there's only so much time left.
This message is at no cost. You may continue speaking now.
Oh goodness. Okay.
It's okay. It's all good.
Okay. Sorry about that. Right.
All right. I'm glad that comes on, because it lets your viewers know this is authentic, this is real, this is really real life that's been taken away from life.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's not like you're just like some paid actor or anything fake or anything like that. You're actually currently serving time in a correctional facility in Kansas, and that isn't right. And like the question that I was trying to put up would be folks trying to be either folks asking genuinely or trying to be contrarians. They would say like, well, there's only like maybe 5 or so years left in your sentence. Why not just serve it out and get it done and over with? Why all this hoopla? Why all this effort? Why all this argument? Why all this time to try and prove something? If you know in your heart that you weren't like I said, I'm saying this as if I was someone genuinely trying to ask, but I already know. Like if you know that you didn't commit this crime, why not simply serve this sentence out and get it done and over with and go back to your life when you're out? I already know what the answer is, but like I'll let you go ahead and fill that in, Mr. Griffin, because we both know the answer. All three of us know the answer.
For starters, my life.
Right.
My life is important to me. My life is important to my family members out there. My life is important to what they took from me. My life is important to me to know that the people need to know the truth. My life is important to me because I want people to understand that this is wrong. And it's wrong for the state to put people on the stand to testify falsely. This not only happens to me, it happens to a lot of people in America. Okay? And it's definitely happened to people of color.
Yep.
And now me not voicing this and putting this out there for people to hear is I'm keeping something from people. That's not right. And I feel people need to know that this really happens. And I want to reach people that don't believe that this happens. And people that gets involved and covers up for people that do people's lives like this, they need to be exposed too. Because this is human life that's being destroyed and taken away from. That hurts. That hurts.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And yeah, even if it wasn't a matter of your own life, which of course, like we've already established, this has to deal with the fact that the evidence that was brought up against you by the state in this case was either misleading or fabricated, and it's not right to have a justice system where evidence can be manufactured rather than uncovered and actually proven with proper investigation with resources. But and even if it wasn't a matter of exposing the injustice of the prison industrial complex and how that ties in with our judicial system, both state level and federal levels. This is 20 years of your life that was taken away from you unjustly.
Yep.
And it's not about, okay, well, I've only got 5 years left, I'll tick that off and be done with it. From what I've seen from the information, this shouldn't have happened to you to begin with. So it's not even so. Even if it wasn't about trying to help others, this was an injustice that was done against you, state-sanctioned injustice by the state of Kansas, and that's not right, no matter what the circumstance.
You know what? I wish you could just say that name loud, because I want people to hear that scream, Kansas.
The state of Kansas had not been fulfilling their duty properly, and the execution of that is blatant and evident with the circumstances revolving around your sentence, your wrongful conviction, and the sentencing that you're currently forced to have to go through. What I would ask here is, since I did actually want to ask in terms of trying to get set up for any sort of early release, any sort of parole, anything involving here, because I'm looking up the case text page for your case against Dan Skner, the warden of the facility. This is the case that was brought up in 2013, and I'm over here trying to find was there any other attempt to petition for a parole or early release of any kind, because from what I can tell, you haven't caused any sort of trouble. You haven't done anything while you've been imprisoned here, so that should grant some sort of consideration. Has there been any sort of progress? Has there been anyone willing to listen, willing to help you out here?
You know what? I've been screaming this for years, and I've been asking for people to just take a chance, listen to my story. Yes, Kansas don't want to give me no early release. Kansas, they wanted somebody black convicted in this case. Once we get further into this, which I would like to do with you and Sarah, about from the start of this, from the guy that was actually shot that made the statement to where this case went into racially profiling me, to where this man had said that he did not see the person, but he believed that the person was black. Now, there's so many discretionaries in that story alone to where no one questioned the judge, the prosecutor, the jury. My attorney, I had a state court appointed attorney, he didn't question anything. And I'm sitting here telling my attorney, you need to get up and say something here. And he's telling me that he said, he's not saying you did anything. I'm saying, well, why am I still here? And I kept telling him that, why am I still here? This man's not even saying anything about James Griffin did this to me, or the other fellow that they convicted. They did not say he did this to me. And nobody never asked that man, did Mr. Griffin commit this crime against you, sir? Not one person, even the jury. That hurt him. You see, and the whole jury, everybody in that jury was white. Everybody in that courtroom was white. And the crime that was committed was against a white man that felt that he thought and believed that a black man did this.
He believed it. He never saw the culprit's face. He never saw the actual person's face. Never got to describe them at all. They just went. They just went.
No, he did. I remember reading the transcript. He said he never saw him. He said he got a look into his eyes, but that was it. And they never asked him anything about eye color. They said, "Okay, describe his voice. Describe his voice." He's like, "Well, I know he sounded black." And they're like, "Well, what clothes was he wearing?" He's like, "I didn't get a look at it. Maybe black, maybe dark blue, but it's something dark." But they kept emphasizing on, okay, so what the voice sound like, and he sounded black, and like, but other than that, he didn't get a good look at him. He's like, he wore a ski mask, but never asked about like hair.
Okay, let me get this straight. They said that this person wore a ski mask, that they wore that they were wearing dark clothing. They said that they got a look into the person's eyes. They didn't describe eye color. They didn't describe anything, maybe complexion around the eyes.
Nope.
Nothing. They just said, he sounded black. And the first black person that they could find was Mr. Griffin. And like you said, according to the phone records, you were 3 hours away from where the actual crime took place to begin with. So you couldn't have possibly been the person who did it. How could they? How could they not take that into consideration? Like you said, there were phone records that were involved that proved that your location at the time of the robbery, at the time of the event, and if I'm not mistaken, there's also information here that I read. Revolving that I don't want to bring it up if it's a sensitive situation, but I'm reading on the justicenews.net article saying that like you said, you were 2.5 hours away. You were from Topeka, where it happened. You were in Coffeyville, and that apparently your mother knew that you were there and she could corroborate, and she was never asked to testify. Am I understanding this right, sir?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why wouldn't they bring her to the stand?
Because they wanted somebody convicted. This whole time, this case has been orchestrated. And on your show, I would like to break this down for your viewers and everybody else that's out there listening to how the state of Kansas has orchestrated this conviction. It's all in the police reports and the trial on how they did this.
So all this information is available to view on here. I'm looking at this in terms of your website. I'm also trying to see where else anyone could find it. I'm showing.
I can send you some.
Yes.
There are trial transcripts I can send you.
Yes, please. Send me those transcripts. I want to be able to show them as best as possible. I'm also showing the morelaw.com page where it showed when you were initially convicted. And it shows here how it was the conviction took place in 2005. So if I'm understanding correctly, that would place the end of your sentencing to January of 2030. Am I understanding that right?
I think it's 29. But honestly, I'm not concerned about the sentence. Like I've been telling you, I'm not even concerned if I was to get out tomorrow. What I'm concerned with is clearing my name and making sure that this is exposed so people out there realize that this needs to stop. This is wrong.
Yeah.
You can't do this to people's lives. And if it's doing it to me, it's somewhere else in the United States where somebody else is getting railroaded. Long story short, railroaded. Yep. And this needs to stop.
You're absolutely right. This is a serious issue. It's a serious problem. These are the kind of situations that do not get nearly enough airtime. These are the issues that do not get nearly enough exposure, and it has to reach some sort of mainstream exposure. We need serious prison reform. We need serious legal reform. There has to be a lot of overhaul when it comes to the procedure that a prosecuting office, like a district attorney's office, can go through and use in order to solve a case, rather than just rack up convictions for closing cases. It doesn't make any sense the way they're operating here. But if as far as that's concerned, you're absolutely right. When it comes to this, Mr. Griffin, we're not shy about talking about giving our opinions on this program. I don't give a damn. I don't care. But when it comes to
I need to hear that.
Yeah, one of the things, like I mentioned with our program, our program is uncensored, unfiltered, unapologetic, uncompromising, and unedited. So this entire portion of the show is coming in uncut, no editing, no nothing. Because as far as I'm concerned, if it were up to me, there would be a major overhaul with our prison systems, both nationwide and state levels. There would be major overhauls when it comes to the procedures that district attorney office and other correctional offices are allowed to employ in order to serve the pursuit of justice, not just a pursuit of closing cases and clearing clutter off of a desk. Because that's what it boils down to. That from what I'm seeing here, it seems like all they're doing is they're being seriously lazy in executing their duties to their citizenry, and that's an injustice, not of willful negligence, of willful ignorance.
$4.20. This message is at no cost. You may continue speaking now.
All right. So, but yeah, like you said, this is the real deal, and yeah, I hope you'll pardon me. I just didn't want to interrupt what was going on the other line. I apologize, Mr. Griffin. But as far as I can see here, all I can say here is what was done to you is absolutely unacceptable. I wouldn't wish this on anyone. And I'm the kind of guy who holds grudges on people from like middle school. So I can be very salty. I'm a very salty guy when it comes to this kind of stuff. But if it's something that you had nothing to do with, what happened to that person who got shot. You had nothing to do with the supposed attempted robbery or aggravated robbery or conspiracy to commit. You had nothing to do with this, from what I can see here as far as the evidence goes. And even on the Moore Law case here, I'm showing there's a statement here saying for all these reasons, and even if Griffin could overcome the procedural hurdle of his untimely filing, we find Griffin has failed to make a colorable claim of actual innocence. Like, are you kidding me? This doesn't make any sense. How could the information that you provided, where you have an alibi with your mother, you have phone records showing that you were nowhere near the situation, you were not involved in this. And what's more, there's also like yourself and Miss Sarah mentioned, there's also actions taken by the prosecution's office, by the district attorney's office, trying to coach witnesses to state that it was you, to basically lie on the stand, and that's not acceptable either. I don't. It's a
Brady violation.
Exactly. It's a clear and blatant mishandling of the justice system, of the criminal justice system. That's not how this is supposed to work. They're supposed to behave in an orderly manner that's meant to be approached. This is absolutely reprehensible. And I can't stand for that. That's why we're bringing this up. And Mr. Griffin, like, the only thing I can hope for here is, like, I mentioned it to Sarah earlier, but I feel like we're like totally not the right people for this stuff. We normally deal with entertainment and news and like the darker side of like nerd culture and stuff. But the way I'm figuring is this is an issue that goes above and beyond that. This is an issue that goes above and beyond what's just entertainment and stuff. You're a human being. You deserve dignity. You deserve to be treated with basic human decency, and what was done to you here for the last 20 years has been inhumane and indecent. And I'm sorry that I'm on a soapbox over here, but my figuring is like, I gotta process this shit properly, and I can't begin to comprehend the meaning of why anyone working for local or federal government would go this route. It's BS. It's bullcrap. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, especially when people know that, someone has been convicted wrongfully, and people that these people got information to free you and don't want to encourage people to come forward to tell the truth. So there's always someone that knows when someone has got on the stand and testified falsely to somebody's life. Okay? There's somebody that knows. Because everybody has a conscience. Everybody has a heart. And everybody has an understanding to why someone would go to the extent to do what they do, to take somebody's life away for some benefit or for some threatening or some sort of coercion or some misleading by the state. People just don't get on the stand to testify about something that they don't know for no reason.
They would have to have their arm twisted in one way or shape or form, yeah.
So, my thing is, I need somebody to listen. I need somebody to just take a moment and just listen to what I have to say. Just listen to what Sarah is out there fighting for, to prove to people that this is an important concern here for people to listen to her, because she's fighting for justice for James Griffin. She's fighting for her passion to free people like me, so people know that this isn't right. This is not fair. And this is life. People's fighting for life. People's fighting for someone to know that this shit is real.
Yeah.
This is real.
This is real life. This is someone's life that has been taken from you unjustly.
20 years he can't get back.
As far as what would come of this, more so than just telling your story, letting your voice be heard, letting people know what's been done to you, what's been happening to you, what else do you think can come of your story getting more public light here, Mr. Griffin? What more do you think you can accomplish by having your story told, sir?
I need your help. I want to get in touch with Gail King. I want her to hear this. I want her to reach out to us, because we have a very serious racial profiling concern in the heartland of Kansas here. She knows about situations like this. She's and if she could hear this and hear my message out here asking for her help, to help me and Sarah and you, to give us a chance to just listen. I just want her to know that this is life just reaching out to her.
Yeah.
I want her to understand that. I want her to hear that.
I hear you. I hear you. I understand, Mr. Griffin. And if it was up to me, if I had the power, you would be out already. You would be home already. Whatever kind of home, whatever kind of life you have, or you hope to have from the situation. If it was up to me, you would already be on the path. There would be some sort of restitution. I know that that's not your goal, but my figuring is that that's something you are definitely owed, as far as this is concerned. As far as this sort of situation is concerned, it's not right. It isn't fair. It isn't just. And
Yes,
if it was up to me, I would definitely. If it was up to me, I would have you out as a free man today. Hell, I'd have you out as a free man 20 years ago if it was up to me, because this shouldn't have happened to begin with. It's point blank period. I don't understand how anyone can not see that. And I hope that with the amount of time that I was able to give you here, Mr. Griffin, however much it is, however brief it is for the moment here, I hope that there's some sort of impact that comes from it. I hope to God that there's something that we can accomplish from this. You know, the motto of our channel is "Your voice, our mission," and I feel that your voice, Mr. Griffin, definitely it needs to be heard. So for tonight at least, I'm making it our mission. And I'm going to call for as much as we can. I don't know if there's anyone from Kansas who even watches our channel, who even listens to us, who even knows we exist. But if there are, and if they have any sort of conscience on them, then hopefully they'll also help amplify this. Because I know Sarah, she's got a good heart. She's going to help out in whatever channels, in whatever way she can. So you have a good friend there with her, and you've got a friend here with the Ravens flock, sir. And we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate your time, and we're hoping that someday soon, in the near future, that you'll be made a free man, and that this injustice is, in some way, shape, or form, rectified. Because, like I said, what was done to you was indecent. It was inhumane, and everyone is deserving of basic human decency, sir.
That means a lot to hear from you, and you know that's all I ever want. I just want somebody just to hear me out there. I just want somebody to just give me a chance to know that the state of Kansas was wrong. I want them to own it. I want them to take responsibility for what they've done to my life, to my family's life, like I told you. You know, I want some responsibility and accountable. Own up to this.
Admit to mistakes. There's nothing wrong to admit to any mistakes. To err is human, right?
This is what the state of Kansas did for them and did to them and gave them.
Mhm.
Just check the record. Just check the follow-up to see if what they said is actually true, that these people testified falsely for these reasons. That'll establish truth to what you've done to me was wrong. I just want people to know that. I just want people to hear that, and I want people to see it in black and white.
I hear you, sir.
That's all I ask.
We're going to make sure that happens.
As best as we can, we're going to help out however we can, James. We're going to do whatever we can. I can't make any promise, like I said, I don't know if anyone's going to take it seriously in any case, at least on my channel, but we're going to pull whatever we can, that obviously within our means, to try to help out, sir.
That's a lot. That's a lot to me. Believe me, that's a lot. Especially after what I've been through. That is a lot to hear and to know. Trust me, it is.
Not to worry, Mr. Griffin. I appreciate your time, sir. And once again, for anyone who wants to see more information about this, there are 2 links. There's actually 3 links I'm going to be sharing. There's going to be your website, justiceforjamesgriffin.com. There's going to be the full story, which is going to be on justicenews.net, which I'm going to be sharing as well. And of course, Sarah's website, her nonprofit, Voiceless Behind Bars. Anyone, if it's within your means, spread the word, get this out as best you can, folks, and we'll do everything we can. We're only human, but we should look out for each other as one human tribe, as one human race. Everyone deserves basic human decency, and you deserve your voice to be heard, sir. All right, Mr. Griffin, thank you very much for your time. Sarah, thank you very much for coming on and for helping us get connected with them. And I'll be cutting back to us on the live stream. Take it away, guys. All right. So that was it. That was the interview with James Griffin. And again, I want to thank Sarah for helping get us in touch and for helping advocate for James over here. Now, Joe, you still with me there?
Yeah, no, I'm still with you. I heard the entirety of the interview, and once again, kudos to you, Juancho. Good job in asking and getting the interview and asking the right questions, asking what needed to be asked.
Yeah, no, the one thing that got me on this was like the one obvious question that any sort of contrarian or I brought this up already in the interview, so I'm sort of repeating myself, is like, okay, you've already served 20 years out of the 25. Why not just wait it out? It's because it's not about the time. It's not about how much time is left. It's about how much is taken from him unjustly. It's about the fact that this dude who literally had zilch to do with this situation was just pegged and pinned to the wall for sounding black. That's it. Apparently they couldn't find anyone close enough to where it actually happened, so they had to find someone who was 3 hours away to even be a suspect. You gotta be shitting me. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Kick up the sodium chloride, folks, because I'm fucking salty as hell. Maybe if we have an emoji for me, because we have Angel with his slurs, maybe mine will have NaCl for sodium chloride on there for salt. I don't know. Or do you think
just put it over your mouth? Yeah, no, I can see that. That would be awesome. But no, Juancho, let's just try to keep your cool. Yes, this is a very, 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 very.
Cool. That's the fastest way to piss me off even more. You know
Juan?
This.
Okay.
Yeah, see, Kodisi's got the right idea. She's throwing slurs up all over the place. She's pissed off, too. Didn't mean to cut you off, sorry, you were saying.
No, yeah, you're fine. You're fine. I shouldn't have said that. This is a very, very serious subject. But I'm just saying, don't spend the rest of the time just screaming.
No, I'm not going to spend the rest of the time screaming. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be a little more productive with the rest of my time. What I'm going to be doing with the rest of my time is actually quite simple. There is a lady by the name of Melissa who was part of the prosecution's efforts in convicting Mr. Griffin by testifying against him. What we have here, thanks again to Sarah DeArmond and Voiceless Behind Bars, I'm going to be playing now for my displeasure and for the general ridiculousness of it. Basically, a sworn affidavit on her end describing exactly what she was made to do. Describing what she had done as part of the prosecution's efforts to put James Griffin behind bars. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. And Jose, you go ahead and listen along with me as best you can, okay?
Yep, absolutely. Should we mute our mics again?
You can mute your mic if you think it'll help you hear better. Let's give this a try. Science. Let's go.
Hello, Melissa.
Yes.
Okay, this is Thomas.
Hey, Thomas.
So, you just have the government phone.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make this think about the easiest way that I can for you.
Okay. Yeah, it won't let me download any more apps. It won't let me take any more pictures. I need to get a new phone. I'm a single mom, and I just can't afford it right now.
No, it sounds like you may be out of memory, because I know them phones don't have a lot of memory, and when you start putting a lot of apps and pictures and stuff, it'll run out of memory quick.
Yeah, that's right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and vocally record this conversation, and then if further we'll work out the details if we need to. But if you can, to start, just state your name, full name for the record, please.
Okay. Melissa May Shea.
Okay, and why are we talking today?
I believe it's about Biggie. I had talked to Rasha earlier, and told her that, she could give you my number or whatever, so I really don't know specifics, but I assume it's about him.
Yeah, so we're here for James Griffin, a.k.a. Biggie, and what was your involvement with that case?
Well, he had came down, I was actually in a relationship with his cousin, Michi. We had kids together, and he would come down from Kansas to Missouri to visit us and stuff, and I guess then all of a sudden he went to jail, and then Michi called me from jail and was like, I'm looking at a lot of time. The detectives came and visited me today, Detective Barron, and they said that if we would write out some information and sign it, then Michi would be released. And I told Michi, I don't want nothing to do with this. This don't seem right. But I was stupid, and I went ahead and I did it. I went up to the jail in Olathe, and the detectives were there. We sat in the back seat of my car, and he had, if I remember right, he had written some things out, and I signed the paper, and after I signed the paper, then they released Michi, and I guess Michi had already signed the paperwork on the inside. I'm not for sure, but I guess we both had to agree to the same thing, and I told them I didn't want to go to court. I didn't want nothing else to do with this. They promised me, okay, sure. And so then all of a sudden, a while later, then the detectives started coming by our house. Detective Barron wanted to talk to us and stuff. And at that time, I was trying to get the custody of my children back. So I had moved to Independence, Missouri, on the square. They had this house to help me get my children back. And they kept coming and harassing me there. And basically, I lost my housing there because of these people. And then it came time, I guess, for court. So they contacted me and Michi and said that, I don't know whether it was the prosecutor or somebody, called us and said, hey, we have a nice room for you up here so you can come the night before. We'll give you gas. We'll feed you, whatever, so you can make sure to be here in court. And I told Michi, I am not going to court. I do not want to be a part of this. I didn't want to sign that stuff anyway. And so he went ahead and left the night before. And I stayed behind. And I woke up early that morning because I had a bad feeling. I thought, man, they're going to come and get me. I just feel it. So I want to make sure I'm dressed and prepared when they do come. So I did that. And I was sitting on my couch, and I could see my front door. And I looked over, and I heard it kind of moving. Well, they forced their way in. They handcuffed me. And I was pissed off because they had to take me all the way to Topeka. One of the cops was nice. One of them was really rude. The whole way over there, cussing, you got to be ashamed of yourself. You couldn't even come and do what you're supposed to do. And they had me handcuffed behind. And I'm like, dude, my arms are killing me. I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, why am I getting treated like this? And the other cop finally took the handcuffs and put him in front. And then they got mad because they had to pay the toll somewhere along there before we got to Topeka. So they were cussing about that. And they dropped me off to Detective Barron. And Detective Barron was like, here, Melissa, thank you for coming in. You need to read the statement so you can refresh your memory on what you need to say and everything. And I said, okay. And then about that time, they brought Biggie in front of me. And I thought, oh my God, I about lost it because, he was kind of like family, and plus I was scared. And I said, I need to use the bathroom. I need to use the bathroom. So he stood at the bathroom door, let me go in, use the bathroom, came back out. He walked me, stood there with me until they called my name and walked me into the courtroom. I said what I was supposed to say, and then it was done.
And afterwards, after you testified, what happened?
I went back home. Me and Michi went and visited his mom because his mom was living in Topeka at the time. So we went. She came and picked us up and took us to her house, and we stayed the night there, I believe. And then we drove back home in our car.
And was you ever in contact with these detectives or anything after that?
No, I never seen him anymore after that. Okay. That I remember, no.
Okay.
No.
So let's go back to the beginning and walk this all the way through. So,
okay.
Michi contacted you and informed you of this ordeal, right?
Exactly.
And you from the start knew that it was wrong and did not want any part of it.
Well, I didn't want to have to testify against anybody. This was Michi's family member, which was like my family. We were together for like 16 years. So I considered Biggie family. Now, I know Biggie, everybody was doing bad things back then. I'm a totally different person now. We all did bad things. We still had a good heart and everything, but we weren't doing too much good at that time.
I understand.
And, I feel bad about all that stuff now, but all I can do now is continue to do what I'm supposed to do and be a good person. But, he was in jail right there at the Johnson County Detention Center. And I don't know whether he was in jail for burglary or something. I don't really remember. But he had called me collect and was telling me, that he had talked to the detectives and that, well, actually what I should say is this. Michi's dad, who is now dead, was kind of staying with us at the house where Biggie would come and visit us from time to time. And his dad just kept talking about this incident that happened. The burglary gone bad. The owner was in there, wasn't supposed to be in there. They had inside help on this. And I guess it was Biggie, a white guy, and Maurice, Biggie's brother, from what I understand. And that when they went into the building, the owner was there, and I guess Maurice shot him. And he didn't die, but he was paralyzed from the neck down. And everybody, and also Michi's cousin Melvin Simpson was down visiting us at the same time. And everybody was kind of talking about it. And Melvin had this duffel bag, this black duffel bag. And he kept walking around with this duffel bag. And Biggie and Misha was like, man, what is in that bag? Why does he keep carrying that bag around? Well, Melvin came in the front room where I was at with the kids, and he was like, hold this, Melissa, hold this. And I was like, he said, don't put it down for nothing. And I was like, okay, well, I really wish I would have looked in it. I didn't know what was in there, but I started carrying it around. And then I was like, why am I carrying this thing around? And I gave it to Michi. He said to hold on to this. I don't know what's in here. I said, I don't want the kids to be around it. Can you put this up somewhere? And so he took it, and I didn't see the black bag anymore. Well, come to find out, rumor had it that Melvin was wired or something, and all of our communication was being recorded and stuff. So, you know, I heard about all that stuff that happened. I wasn't there when it happened. You know, but when I went to court, there was a man who was in a wheelchair, which I assume that was the man that, you know, they had shot. But I was stupid and naive. I did whatever Michi said, and I went ahead and I signed the paperwork. And what I said in court was what I actually heard that happened. You know, I can't say 100% that that's what happened because I wasn't there. But that made me feel like I had no choice but to go ahead and say that in the way that I said it, or else. You know what I mean?
Well, describe that. When you say that you felt that you had no choice but to say what they wanted you to say on the stand, what does that mean?
Well, these cops come and break into my house, basically, take me and throw me in the car in handcuffs like a criminal, bitch at me the whole entire way to Topeka. They're pissed off, slamming shit around in the car, cussing at me and everything, and then I get up there and they pass me over to the detective, and I feel like I can't leave because he's got his hand on me, on my arm, like I can't leave. I felt like
you were detained.
Like I was in trouble.
Right.
You know? It was kind of scary. You know, and I felt like, oh my gosh. And then I was like, I need to go to the bathroom. And it was like he didn't want to let me out of his sight to go to the bathroom. And that's when Biggie walked by and I kind of lost it. Like, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm in this situation. I can't do this. And I went in the bathroom and was crying. And when I came out, the detective was standing in front of the door waiting on me so I wouldn't be able to leave because I wanted to leave. I didn't want to be there, you know. But then I felt like I had to do it because they let Michi out of jail, you know. And he showed me that paperwork and said, okay, you got to refresh your memory so you know what to say when you get in there. You got to say what's on this paper.
Okay, stop right there.
Okay.
So this testimony was to get Michi out of jail, right?
Exactly.
And did any of these, was you promised that by any of these detectives? Did they physically, specifically tell you that?
Yes. Standing outside of the Johnson County Detention Center. Yep.
They told you that if you gave testimony, it would release Michi from jail.
Yes, and he was doing the same thing. And actually, I think I remember better now. I think they let him, I don't know, I can't say that. I don't know whether he signed it while he was in custody or when they went ahead and brought him out. I don't remember whether he did it before or after.
But after the testimony, after the trial, Michi was released from jail.
Michi was released after he signed the sworn statement that I signed the first time I even met the detective. So he was already released because we signed the paperwork.
Do you remember the detectives' names that gave you these promises?
There was two of them, but the one I remember because he was very handsome and he looked like Lou Diamond Phillips, and his name was Detective Barron.
Barron?
I believe so.
Okay.
But he had, you know, he looked kind of Mexican, but he had this long, flowing hair in front of his eyes. I mean, he was really handsome.
Do you remember what you were coached to say on the stand?
That, just what I had told you earlier, that Becky and Maurice, and I think there was a white guy, but the white guy was like, it was like an inside job. I don't know whether he was giving him the information on what all was there. I'm not for sure. But that they went in to do a burglary. Nobody was supposed to be there, but I guess the owner was. And they kept saying, this man was a very prominent man in society. That phrase, I'll never forget that phrase. He was a very prominent man in society in that city, and that he was there, and I guess he got shot, and I believe they said Maurice shot the man, but he didn't die. He was just paralyzed from the neck down.
And that's the testimony that you gave in court?
Yes. Yep. And, you know, I really felt like crap, too, because Biggie's wife was sitting there, and I really, really loved her. And she was just sitting there, and I happened to look up because I just couldn't face anybody. I was looking down, and the lawyers were asking me questions. And then I looked up, and she was just looking at me and just shaking her head like, oh, you piece of shit, you know. And then I looked over, not meaning to, but kind of looked at Biggie, and he was whispering something to his lawyer. And then all of a sudden his lawyer got up and was like, oh, yeah, so, Melissa, you don't have custody of your kids now, do ya? And I thought, oh, you asshole. You know, what a slap in the face. You know, and that was it.
Yeah, these are ugly situations, you know, and it's just where everybody is fighting for their life, essentially, you know, and these are the results. But at the end of the day, the man did not commit the crime. He's been sitting in prison, and we're doing everything that we can to bring him home, and you are doing the right thing.
You know, I'm scared of him, you know. I think about him every single day. All the time I think about him, and it feels terrible. I repeated what I was told. I felt like my hands were tied at the time, and I'm very sorry about that. And I know what I'm scared of is we've got a man who's been sitting behind bars who has nothing to do but to think of things to do to me when he gets released. You know what I mean? And I no longer socialize with Michi. He's up to no good. I have since had another child. I'm a single mom. I'm just trying to make it. I'm doing the right thing. You know, I've changed my life totally. And I was bothered by 2 private investigators a couple years ago about this. They would not leave me alone. They were actually scaring me. I couldn't even leave my house because they would be sitting outside. The one lady, a heavyset lady, she was really bad because she would bring coffee up to my door and then try to call me. I brought you coffee. I brought you coffee. And I would look out my window, and she would just be standing out there waiting for me to. After I couldn't go to work. I couldn't leave my house. I mean, it was terrible.
Did you ever get their names?
I had a card for her somewhere. I might still have that. And then the man, he came and he said he was a retired police officer. And he was trying to talk to me about stuff, and I actually did talk to him, and he was wanting me to sign all this paperwork. And I said, listen, I learned my lesson the first time. I'm not signing nothing. You know, I just want to be left alone. And he showed me a copy of Michi's, what's the proper word, where he recanted his statement or something.
Right, yeah.
And showed me that. And Michi never told me about that. You know, I mean, me and Michi haven't been together for a long time. But, you know, he's not ready to do right or anything, so I basically blocked him.
He did recant his statement, and we're trying to get a hold of him as well to get the same testimony, so I don't know if you still have contact with him at all.
I don't know how to get a hold of him. The only way I was getting a hold of him was through Messenger, and his best friend actually passed away.
Yeah.
So I tried to get a hold of him to tell him about that, and I haven't had a response. So I'm just wondering if he's not back in jail, because he goes in and out of jail because, you know, he's on parole.
Yeah, I don't think from our research, we can't see that he is locked up.
Okay. Okay.
We were trying to get a hold of his Aunt Winnie to see if she could offer some assistance.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't even really talk to her. He's never really been close to her all the years I was with him, at least. I just don't know how to find him. I don't know where he's homeless, you know. He stays with one person and then the next.
Your testimony here is I mean, it's earth-shattering, and it's groundbreaking. And the fact that you admitted to the fact that they coerced you, they coached you, and they promised you rewards for testifying against this man is earth-shattering.
I just don't want. I don't want my life to be in danger from a man who doesn't get out.
Melissa, listen to me. I've been talking with James. He just wants to come home. He's old, he's tired, he just wants to come home. He's not concerned about anything, and I will be in contact with James when he comes home, because I am also a life coach. I'm a convicted criminal myself. I've been incarcerated, and now I have a nonprofit foundation, and what I'm doing is helping individuals who have been wronged by the system as I was. I can assure you. And I can promise you. Go ahead, mommy.
Can you please, let him know that, I'm sorry about everything that happened. I didn't know what to do. At that time, I didn't know how the law worked. I was very sheltered. I basically did what Michi told me to do. And I felt like I was kind of thrown under the bus from the beginning,
Yeah. No, mommy, this is over with now, and you can let this stuff go. All we needed was that testimony. And you're doing the right thing, and these are all steps to just release a bad chapter in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I want to help any way I can, and everything and stuff. I just don't know what to do.
Well, you've done it, mommy. You've done it, and and essentially your testimony is 90% his ticket to freedom. To right the wrongs. That's how important what you've done and what you've said is. So I assure you, again, I promise you that there will be nobody's looking to come home and retaliate. Nobody's looking to do any of these things. People just want to come home and repair their lives and just restore them. You know, we understand, especially coming from a woman's point of view. We understand that you guys are put in positions that you feel like you don't know what to do. And we understand that. And there's nothing to fear, Melissa. And if you ever are contacted by anybody, you can call me, this number right here, ASAP.
Okay, I will.
And if I have to come out there, I will. I just left from out in Kansas. I'm actually in Baltimore right now. I was out there. I spoke with Rasha. I spoke with the family. I spoke because we're trying to get this man home, and we were looking for you.
Oh, really?
So we've connected. I think I have everything that I need from you. I'm just going to want you to state your name one more time.
Okay. My name is Melissa May Shea.
And have I coerced you, or has anybody coerced you in this testimony today?
Oh, no, not at all.
And why did you want to come forward with this testimony?
Well, I want to do the right thing. And I want to try to repair what damage has been done that I had help with. Not intentionally, but I just want the right thing to happen, And whoever, and these people, they need to be in trouble for making me feel the way I did, for making me feel like I had to do what I did, and I just felt like I didn't have a choice.
Well, Melissa, I can assure you that I'm the person for that, and I will do everything in my power that I can to bring to light what these detectives have done. That's why I wanted their names, and anybody else that had anything to do with illegally locking this man up for 20 years.
Well, you can call me at any time. I'm going to save your number, and I won't talk to anyone else but you.
But me, and that's it. And Trisha, of course. Trisha is my partner, so you're more than welcome to speak with her as well. But absolutely. And if you can, find that card of that PI lady.
Okay, yeah. I will go try to find that in some old boxes that I have. I'll go and try to find that. If I find it, I'll call you back and let you know.
Absolutely. Just send me a picture of it.
Okay, I will.
Just send me a picture of that, and I'm probably, because this is audio, I'm probably going to have to verify this audio some kind of way with a notary. If that is possible, I'll reach back out to you. This is why I wanted to do the video, so all of that could be skipped.
Okay, sure. Yeah, just feel free to call me with whatever you need.
Okay, Melissa, and I thank you so much for your time, your patience, and your good heart for what you're doing. And please reach out to me if there's anything I can do for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, Melissa, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That was it. Holy shit. Jose, did you manage to catch all of that?
Hang on a minute. Sorry, I just unmuted my mic. Yeah, I did catch all of it, and from what I'm seeing in the chat, everyone did. And yeah, the general consensus is, well, yeah, no, everyone's fucking mad. Everyone's angry, and rightfully so.
Yeah, okay, we can have our opinions of this woman, Melissa. We can have our opinions about her all we want. Her actions speak louder than words. She made a gigantic mistake over 20 years ago. And she was mortified that the only thing that James is interested in is payback or revenge. No, this guy, if there's anything that I try to hone for myself, it's being a judge of character, or rather being at least a decent judge of character. Like, I am like trying to not be ragingly angry, but her motives at the time were self-serving. There is no getting around that. She did that in order to get her boyfriend, whoever it was, get him out of jail. And the police dangled her children in front of her as well, saying like, oh, basically heavily implying, oh, hey, if you don't do with what we want, if you don't do what we say, then you're never going to get to see your kids because we'll drum you up on charges. And that would be fucked up. So at that point, it becomes a matter, it was blackmail. It was coercion. She could have been braver. She could have done the right thing at the time and refused and told them, you can stick this up your ass. But she was scared. She was nonplussed. She was concerned for herself, for her own interest, for her own well-being. And in the end, she ended up being a part of costing James Griffin 20 years of his life. And it's only now that this is coming to light, that this is being done, that she's even considering trying to undo that. Now, is her testimony enough to make up for this? I would say no, not in the slightest. But it's a step in the right direction. It's okay. If you're going to try and make peace or try to do what's right, there's no way that anyone can give James back those 20 years he lost. What can be done is to try to get him out as fast as possible, to get the sentence removed or commuted as fast as possible. And the only thing that can be done with that is to go in for it and go for the witnesses who were involved. Like, even if she's scared or whatever that he's going to come after her, yeah, that's still self-serving. That's still self-interest. That's still looking out for number one. That still isn't right. I can sympathize to a degree, but I cannot condone. At least now, this lady, Melissa, at least now she is making the effort. However little it may be, that little bit may just be enough to help. I wish this never had happened to the man. And I'm letting you guys know, I had not heard this recording beforehand. I was stupid. I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll listen to it before. No. I'm like, no, fuck it. It's probably easier to let it play out and I'll listen to it live with everyone else. And I'm kind of wishing that I had listened to it ahead of time so I can better control my passion, so I can better control my anger, because I don't want to yell at someone who really, at the time, she was only trying to look out for herself, but it was wrong. What she did was wrong. What was done to James Griffin was wrong. God almighty, I've done wrong shit in my own time, but such a toll, such a cost that was exacted on a man who had nothing to do with it, he had his life taken from him. It's not fair. It isn't right. And I'm really trying to calm down. I'm really trying not to get royally angry. I'm doing my best here to calm my shit.
Hey, your best is enough, Wancho, okay?
Doesn't feel like it's enough. It doesn't feel like it's enough. I feel like more has to be done. I feel like something more has to be done. The only other thing that I can imagine is like, okay, take this straight to the freaking source. Take this straight as best as possible. The first thing that I could think of, the first person that I could think of who would be able to do anything about this would be this lady. And folks, I would like to introduce you to the current and 48th governor of the state of Kansas, Ms. Laura Kelly. Now, Laura Kelly, she is a Democrat. She has been serving for quite a few years in the Kansas State Senate, and she has had a history of working with commuting people's sentences, right? How sweet, how nice is there, the official governor's website. Okay. And I'm not just pulling this out of my bum. I'm over here with a news article. This is from last year, June 24th, 2021 on KSHB NBC Channel 41, Kansas City. Kansas governor grants clemency to 8 embracing quote political risk and rare use of power. You guys don't believe me? I can show you all the article, assuming Chrome wants to behave. Come on, behave. I'll give you gold. No? Okay, here we go. Yeah, see? So she has a history of doing this stuff. She, like, okay, Michael McLeod is overwhelmed with joy. He learned he wouldn't have to return to prison for the rest of his life. Yeah, is Governor Laura Kelly announced Thursday she would commute or pardon the sentences of McLeod and 7 others based on an exhaustive review of more than 200 applicants for clemency. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm sharing this link of the website of the news article, so y'all can read this on your own time. But basically, Governor Laura Kelly has had a history of doing this before. She did this last year, but she doesn't do it often. And my figuring is the only thing that I can imagine is she's got to see reason on this. There's a part in the article here, criteria for release. Kimberly Caldwell, a pastor in Houston, can't wait to wrap her arms around her son. Thank God for his release and remind him of the work he needs to finish. I've kept the faith the entire time. My son has always been a good kid. My encouragement has always been to him. You're not a felon. You fell off. Joseph Jones was involved in a bar fight he didn't instigate when he was 21. While on felony bond release, he was charged with distributing Xanax. In prison, he utilized an online university program to earn a business degree. He also worked for a furniture manufacturer. He was supposed to be released in March of this year. Then, this was June last year. He was released early. Governor's legal team determined Jones met their criteria for release: a non-violent drug offense, demonstration of rehabilitation, minimal disciplinary issues, and strong indicators of success upon release. Okay, so I guess with the issue being the case being an aggravated robbery or attempted murder during a robbery or some bullcrap like what they were trying to pin on James, that odds are they're going to try to look at that. If this was brought up to him, they probably won't think to grant him any clemency because they wouldn't say that he qualifies. It's still bullshit.
It is. It really is. And yeah, I'm over here looking at the chat here. Emily Morse saying that, yeah, people, this is what I was saying here. Email her. Yep, they do read the emails. And yeah, no, just a bunch of basically general questions about taking action, emailing, sending letters out to even if they don't live in Kansas or not. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I think, Zay, with your kindest permission, may I share this episode of the Black Files and see if I can tag Governor Kelly on Twitter as well? While I'm
by all means, yes, go right ahead. I would say yes. This warrants her attention. At worst case scenario, she doesn't reply because I don't know. Well, she's the governor, for goodness sake. She has a lot on her plate. So,
it's still like I don't want to make any freaking excuses or whatever for this person. She's not I'm not trying to pin like, oh, it's this person's fault. No, I'm not here to lay blame. I'm here because I want to try to take some action. I want to try to do something right by.
No, dude, Juanjo,
So I'm not
no, by all means,
yeah,
yes, no,
like,
listen to me,
I'm listening.
yes, tag the governor. Best case scenario, we get a response from her. Great,
Yeah,
so she's listening.
We'll send it out as well.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, like I said, worst case scenario, she doesn't look or she doesn't listen, and which is better than I don't know, having our YouTube episode, having this episode be reported or something. I don't know.
Reported for what? We ain't done nothing. What are they going to report us on? Reporting? Hey, this violates YouTube's terms of service because you're reading news and playing interviews and reading news articles. That is so
considering what we've discussed in the past couple of weeks with other YouTubers being affected by their guidelines or whatnot. I think that anything is possible.
Yeah, the almighty algorithm's so freaking fickle. It's ridiculous. I don't get it. But trying to get back to the point.
Getting back to it. I didn't mean to derail.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, and and Devin found the site where they have the address and contact phone number for her office. Yeah, see, it's like we may not live in Kansas. I have no intention of ever moving there. It's literally flatter than a pancake. I believe there was actually like a topographical survey that was done where you found that there were less mounds and less grooves in the state of Kansas than you would on an average flapjack. So the phrase that Kansas is flatter than a pancake is based in fact. So science. Throw some pancake emojis up, please. I need something to cheer me up because this is fucking ridiculous, people. I need a cheap laugh on a bad pun. But
no, I agree, and we also encourage that yes, if it's within your means, if you can do so, then yes, go ahead, send out the letter, send out emails, contact her, contact the governor's office. Let your voices heard. Let their phones go off the roof. Let their phones go off
ring
the
off
roof.
The
for
hook.
goodness sake. Ring off the hook. Thank you. I am falling asleep. Yes, ring off the hook.
All right. Well, since you're falling asleep, Jose, it is actually nearly time to start wrapping up. You notice how I didn't actually do a lot of talking this time around? I was letting the interview, I was letting the discussion with this lady, Melissa, I let that play for itself. I will let you guys be the judge of that. And there is a toll-free number. You're right. Thank you, Devin. Like, I want to go. I'll go. I think I should go ahead and let you roll out, Jose. If that's all right with you, or since you're
that's perfectly fine. You can go ahead and roll me out. I'm not going to do any plugs or any announcements because, well, this is a very, very touching subject, and I don't want to derail away from the subject by any means.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, Joe. You go ahead and let us know what we can look forward to on tomorrow night's edition of Wrestle Rewind.
Oh no! Like I said, I wasn't going to do any announcements. I don't want to distract from the subject. Like this is a very important subject.
I'm wrapping up over here. I was going to give my closing thoughts after you roll out because I don't want to keep you longer than needed.
Okay, so for tomorrow night's edition of Wrestle Rewind, along with the reviews of WWE NXT, AEW Dynamite, and Impact Wrestling. One of the main events I will be discussing is Samoa Joe defending the Ring of Honor World Television title against the Machine, Brian Cage. Always nice to see a Ring of Honor main event on an AEW show, but hey, what do I know? Oh my God, that's me being I'm saving my assault for tomorrow. But that being said, that's the only announcement I'm going to give. I do want to give my final thoughts on this subject before I go. Mm-hmm. I think that this is very, very fucked up, and this guy has to pay for it with his life. Like he's sentenced away. He's been in prison now for 20 years out of 25 years. That's part of his original sentence. And this woman here, Melissa, right? Yeah, Melissa. Okay. Yeah, she went about it the wrong way. She went about it the selfish way, basically protecting herself, looking out for number one. But like you said, at least she's making an effort to get into right track, unless I misheard you, Juan.
Yeah, it's too little too late now, but the fact that she's recognizing what she did was wrong, that's I would like to say that's worth something.
Hey, better late than never. I would rather someone finally realize that they fucked up later in life than just living in complete ignorance and denying everything.
Denying any role they had in bringing someone down unjustly, I guess. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, something like that. Like, we have to recognize with each other that when it comes to something like this,
Yeah.
hang on,
Uh-oh.
my
Yeah,
microphone
the
was
sound
off.
is gone.
Sorry about that. My microphone was off. I forgot to say. I was basically saying that that as far as this concerned, she's gonna have to live with that she's gonna have to live with the mistakes that she made, and she was going to like, we have to recognize the humanity in people that we find adversarial. She, like, what she did was wrong regardless, but the fact that she's recognizing that what she did was wrong, that is something that I'm willing to give, like, benefit for, like, not benefit of the doubt, not the whole way, but like, she is recognizing now, way too late, but at least she's recognizing now that what she did was wrong, and she is making the effort to try to make things right now.
Exactly. All right. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bow out now. Juancho, thank you very much for having me on, as always. And the folks on the chat right now, yes, it's always good to see you guys together. And I love the interactions that you guys are having. You guys are answering each other's questions, showing solidarity. You're actually listening and you're giving your own thoughts on this. You know, I would go so far as to say you are not just a bunch of random folks jumping on the chat anytime we're on, okay? You guys basically to help define what it is to be a community.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you guys a lot. All right, Jose, so I guess I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right,
then.
so everyone, you guys have a great night. Sleep well, and yes, you guys are, like, I don't have any other words to say. You guys are awesome.
All right, have a good night, Jose. We'll see you later.
All right, good night.
All right, so that was Jose Casabona. That was the head of the Ravens flock, the main man with the plan, and I love him a lot. Yeah, see, Jose's getting lots of love. Jose's getting heart emojis up here. That is sweet. Thank you, guys. Like I said, I'm doing my best trying not to freak out, and I'm really sorry. We try to keep shit lively on the Ravens flock, but with why am I still apologizing over it? I already said we're unapologetic, we're uncompromising on the Black Files. On the Black Files, we got to cut to the heart of the matters. We got to, stiffen up the upper lip, kind of thing. We got to be straight laced on this kind of shit, and we have to just like throw it out and be. Holy shit! Sarah's in the chat. Sarah, honey, hi. Oh my God. How much of this did you watch? Well, hopefully the whole thing. But Yeah, folks, this is Sarah DeArmond. It's Sarah only here. Yeah, she got her start up on YouTube discussing like tea and social justice, and she also did a little bit of makeup work, which is cool. But yeah, this is my lovely, wonderful friend Sarah, whom I love very, very much, honey. And no, it's like this entire time that I was listening to this, is, like I said, on the one hand, yeah, this lady Melissa, she fucked up. She made a mistake. There's no excusing that. And that's something she's going to have to live with for the rest of her life. That's something that she's been living with. On the other hand, she's coming forward now. When James needs it the most, she is coming forward. And that counts for something. That has to count for something. It's not the biggest fucking thing on planet Earth, but it still matters. It's still like, okay, I fucked up. I made a mistake. I cost a man his life. I cost a man 20 years of his life without thinking it through, without trying to put myself in their shoes, just trying to get done and over with. Like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll sign this, whatever. I don't care. It wasn't right. She should have had an attorney with her. She should have had she should have had some sort of thought process, but that didn't happen. And as for James, what was done to him was unconscionable. It was unacceptable. And yeah, I'm going to be sending this broadcast to Governor Laura Kelly of Kansas. There's no way that they'll listen because I'm just an a-hole on the internet. And it's not going to matter probably, but I hope it does. I hope it matters enough to people to pay attention, to help spread the word, to help. It doesn't matter. That's not important. See, and folks are recognizing Sarah, and folks are giving her thumbs up and everything. Start with a preface. Yeah, I'll try that. I think I'll try that, Karen. But like, yeah, I'm hoping that I'm not trying to pass on rage to people. Yes, I'm outraged. Yes, I'm angry. Yes, I'm furious. I am unbelievably pissed right the hell off. And I don't know this man. I don't know him from Adam. I've never met James Griffin. I'm hoping that one day I can, and that he'll be a free man, and that there's something that can be done to make this up to him. Some sort of restitution, some sort of like having his record expunged, for example, or like or a gubernatorial pardon or clemency, anything. Shit, help him get back on his feet. Help him get set up with his life. Get him set up with whatever he's trying to get done as far as a livelihood is concerned. I don't know. This is just stuff I'm spitballing. I don't know the first thing about being a governor. God knows I probably do better than DeSantis down here in Florida, right? But then again, it doesn't. But then again, considering how he behaves with our state, that's not a very high bar to clear. But Governor Laura Kelly doesn't seem to be nearly as repugnant as Ron DeSantis is. Not by a mile. She seems at the very least to have enough of a heart to recognize when an injustice was done. And I'm hoping that there's enough of that heart and there's enough of that consciousness within her and within people who work with her to take this into consideration. And yes, Karen, Governor Laura Kelly is a Democrat. And this is something that I would wholeheartedly throw my own weight behind. If I was a governor, I'd sign him out today. I would go to the actual correctional facility and meet him in person, hand him the pardon in person, hand him the paperwork in person, shake his hand, apologize to him on behalf of the state of Kansas, and review similar cases where these forms of coercion were used on witnesses as well, because this is witness tampering, this is hearsay. I know enough legalese to be able to parse that out, and I'm hoping that if anything good comes of it, then hopefully James will have his freedom sooner rather than later. He deserves to be free, and not just in 5 years from now, like now, right now, 10 years ago now, 20 years ago now. James Griffin deserves his freedom, and he deserves justice. I guess I'm done, guys. Every single one of you guys in the chat, thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for the positive words over here. Karen 007, if there's anything we could do to help, let us know. Spread the word. Spread this video. Tag Governor Kelly. Tag Governor Laura Kelly on this. Don't be malicious. Don't yell at her. We're not here to like get pitchforks on there, but just like let them know, like, hey, this is bullcrap. This is some BS. Notice how I'm like trying to mitigate my own language. I'm trying not to be like my usual swearing like a sailor self, because I want to at least come off some manner of respectable, I suppose. But it's bullshit. It's still ridiculous. And guys, share this video, tag Governor Laura Kelly. If there's anyone you know who lives in Kansas who can be mobilized on this, all the better. Definitely, like I'm putting the pinned message over here, consider donating to Voiceless Behind Bars. Sarah is working with James Griffin's story. She's in contact with him and with his wife on a continuous basis. And we're hoping that this helps get to the right ears, gets to the right people, because this needs to be done. With that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up. Emily Morse, you're already on it. That's excellent. Hell yes. Fantastic. That's what we need. And yeah, not a problem, Saffron. Thanks so much for bringing this story to our attention. Like, my figuring is, like, Andy, he brought up, like, Gabby Petito. Lewis and Steph, they're dealing with Boozy. They're dealing with his behind. I don't really deal with this stuff directly. The last person that I seriously got my hands on and just need to like shake out was goddamn Onision, was Gregory James Jackson, the YouTube pedophile, the YouTube psycho brat, as he's been called, this guy. And that's one dude who I cannot have any sort of conscience for. And Planet Q's Queen, you tagged Kathleen Zellner as well. Excellent. Yes, absolutely. Who knows how this will turn out? Maybe something good will come of this. I hope so. But here on the Black Files, we cut to the heart of the matter. We focus in on one topic every night, and we focus in on the dark side of the entertainment business. We focus in on the dark side of nerd culture, because there's no consumption of entertainment that's consequence free. There's always something that's gets swept under the rug, and we try to bring that out and bring it into the light. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight on the uncensored, uncompromising interview and review podcast of the Ravens Flock, The Black Files, hosted by yours truly, Juan Arauz. As we stream to you live every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, simulcasting on YouTube and Twitch. Hit the subscribe or the follow button, ring the notification bell to stay up to date on all of our content. And if you want to go above and beyond, consider becoming an inner flocker by hitting the join button for only $4.99 a month. Go ahead and You could support us if you want. I would say for tonight at least, if it's within your means, rather than sending any support or cash or anything our ways, send it to Voiceless Behind Bars. Send it to the Innocence Project. Send it to and like I said, because Sarah DeArmond, she will make sure to get help for James Griffin. And James, if you ever see this episode, you're in our prayers, you're in our thoughts, and I'm hoping this did something to help. And with that said and done, folks, until next time, we'll invite you to continue to follow us on Facebook.com/TheRavensFlock, Twitter.com/RavensFlock13, Instagram.com/TheRavensFlockOnline, Twitch.tv/TheRavensFlockOnline, and of course, remember to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell right here on our flagship platform, YouTube.com/TheRavensFlock, humble home of the Black Files, Los Amigos Play, Wrestle Rewind, and the Ravens Flock. For Jose Casabona, I am Juan Arauz. This has been the Black Files.